All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to the ninth season of the Mzantsi Jazz Awards. It's already rolling and it is in effect, but just a quick reminder of season number 8. Check this out.
Thank you to everyone that's supported us. And yeah, we just want to keep saying we love the support we've been given. We also want to thank our fellow nominees for what they do to push us and to inspire us to make the music that we do.
This really means a lot coming from you guys here at home. Really, my heart is beating 1,000 miles an hour right now, but thank you.
I was listening to music today. Yo, Gosiam. Amazing. I wanted to go back to that time when music was the soul food.
Yeah, that was the Soweto Theatre there. And the beautiful stage at the Soweto Theatre last year, and we continue to be in gratitude to the Soweto Theatre for having been a great partner for the Mzantsi Jazz Awards for the last 3 years. And we are, however, also excited that we are starting a new year in a new home, um, which you can already see there. Our relationship with the University of Johannesburg. So, yeah, I see Peter Fisher has actually joined now. So that's good. I just want to get rid of all of the stuff that are flowing on my screen. Give me a few seconds. Okay, I have no idea what's going on here. Yeah, so we would like to welcome our relation. We would like to welcome everyone. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please, you can unmute, say yeah, or say hello, or say good morning, or just wave.
Yes, yes.
Good morning. Good morning.
There you go. Thank you, and thank you for joining us this morning. I know you have other places you could be, so the fact that you are here, I am grateful. I don't think I need to introduce myself further. I've been a part of this project with the Mzantsi Jazz Awards for the last 9 years. Uh, I cannot believe we are in year number 9, and I cannot wait for year number 10 already, because I think that's essentially part of what's exciting. But today we are announcing some of the nominees who will be part of this work. It is not, I know that many people at some point were saying, hey, the Mzantsi Jazz Awards, it's a competition and all of that. I've said, no, this is not a competition at all. This is a celebration of the music and the genre that we love. So every year when we start, I have no idea what is actually going to come up. I have no idea how it's going to work out. So I'm very much in gratitude, first of all, to the musicians, who all of them who are here, who have continued to support this initiative. It is created for the musicians, it is created for music, it is created for the celebration of all the platforms that enable this kind of genre, or this genre that we actually appreciate and love. And two, of course, appreciating the music managers, the music stakeholders that enable the music, the radio stations as well. I say thank you for continuing to do this, because without all of you, without all of these people, there's no Mzansi Jazz Awards. The purpose for this celebration, when we started a number of years ago, almost a decade ago, was and many of you know, stemmed from a complaint around how jazz music is not recognized as much as it can. Douglas, can I ask you to please just admit people? I don't want to keep clicking admit. There, I think your co-host or your host in that instance. Is that okay?
100%. Yes, we good.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, so it's
Now
not
I
a
can speak.
competition. It's not a, what's happening?
Can I just greet them so that someone else know? Hello, hello guys. Do you hear me? Do you see that I'm here? My
Yes,
name is Alfina.
we saw you, Salfina.
Hello.
Welcome. Thank you.
Oh,
We
okay.
saw you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
So the work we are celebrating, as I said, we're celebrating the work that has been created, particularly music, because the way the Mzansi Jazz Awards works is, first of all, honoring music and creation and production of music. People have been asking, oh, why don't we recognize music? Can I ask everyone to mute, to put themselves on mute? Douglas, can you make sure that everybody is muted, please, for now? Thank you. So people have been asking this question. So can we have the music from the old days? Can we submit old music, Bupra Hugh, Bupra Jonas, and all of those things? Very old music from the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, and even some of the music from the 80s. And I said, we can't, because while we recognize that that music has created value for what we are here for, and we find continuously ways to celebrate it differently. We have to also honor, and I think that's the core tenet of the Mzansi Jazz Awards, is to celebrate and really recognize the music that comes up now. It is really about contemporary jazz music, because if we honor music now, what then it means is that we continue to shine the light on it and make sure that it continues in its life more than as much as everybody else who is part of this process participates. So the music we are celebrating the creativity. It's not a competition. We are celebrating technical competence. Is this music really amazing? We are celebrating contribution to the industry with something new. Is it adding something to this history that we've been creating, or is it just one little blip that will disappear at any given point in time? But the fourth criteria, which is what many people get wrong so far, and I'm hoping as we grow with the Mzansi Jazz Awards, this is one of the criteria that we will also contribute a lot to is the popularity of this music. The music of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and some of the music from the 80s had a cause somehow that actually made it onto the people's it made sure that radio picks it up, make sure that the newspaper picks it up, make sure that the people celebrate everywhere. But for some reason, starting from the 2000s, for the last 25 years or so, we haven't really been celebrating jazz as much as jazz music as much as it should. It's not as popular as as it should be. I'm very excited though that for in the last year and a half to 2 years, I've been seeing a lot of the music being um, enjoyed mostly by young people because jazz is young music, it is youthful music, and I've been seeing it being enjoyed by young people everywhere, which for me is beautiful to see. And I think that particular criteria, we want to make sure that that's the growth we celebrate. And this year, if when you come, not if, when you come to the Mzantsi Jazz Awards on the 30th of August, um, you will see, and on this list now, you will see some of the new music, some of the exciting new creations, some of the new exciting creators of this music, which is exciting. And then, of course, longevity. Can we play this music 10 years, 15 years, 25 years from now? So when someone wins the Mzantsi Jazz Awards, it wasn't a popularity contest. It wasn't because somebody liked the artist. The music, the the jury and the committee that eventually assesses and adjudicates on. This year we received just under 100, 100 submissions, which is great because it's already 3 times what it used to be when we started. I think for the first 3, 4 years, we had a very small number. So when someone actually makes it onto this list, they have been sieved through based on this criteria from just under 100 participants. And what is not on here as a criteria every year, and it's possibly one of the toughest when it's supposed to be very simple, is that music jazz. So the people that have not made it onto this is because the smart people that look into this stuff have decided it doesn't fit the criteria of what we as the Mzantsi Jazz Awards particularly regard as jazz. In terms of the categories, we Douglas, I had asked that we remove the best international jazz album artist on that list. So this year we are not doing that category, but we will be focusing on the rest of the categories going forward. So we kind of taking a little bit of a pause on that international music. But what actually was new, but we kind of have paused. So I'm glad that Peter is here today. So I'm gonna ask him to speak a little bit. So while we're doing this international jazz album artist piece, Peter would get on my case and say, where is African music? Where are the African musicians? Where's the music category? Of course, if you know me, you know that I don't think about South Africa as not Africa, but so which means everything that's not Africa is international, but everything that's in Africa, it's in Africa. And then he said to me, no. South Africa, African music is not international jazz music. So we need a category called Best African Jazz. And I think for a few years, I kind of like was going like, I hear you, but if you can fund it, bro, I'm happy to do it because I'm all for promoting the music on the continent anyway. So we have that category, but we don't, and you'll understand why a little later when I share. Now, after all of that, without further ado, the nominees. for this year are
Jay,
nominees for the best
take your phone
contemporary
with you.
jazz album. What's happening? Okay, can I ask that we mute and then we'll create a space for conversation a little bit later. The best contemporary jazz album, Tembelihle Dunjana, who is coming for the second time on the Mzantsi Jazz Awards. She is a previous winner of the Mzantsi Jazz Awards. She won 2 categories in 2020 for Best Female as well as Best Best Song, and which incidentally led her um, to the directly or indirectly to the creation of the album that has now been nominated here. Beautiful album. God bless Ikapa. God bless Mzantsi. And then we have Rorisang Sechele. I was excited to see her on the list this year. Her mentor, Mr. David April, recently passed away. So the first time I got to hear about Rorisang was through David April. And she was saying, you have to listen to this girl. You have to listen to this girl. And so I was really excited when I saw her on the list. And she is part of the nominees for Best Contemporary Jazz Album. Mr. Lucas Sinyazo has released an EP called Africa late last year, and we have been in conversation, and I was excited this year to see that that EP is nominated. It's probably one of the most beautiful pieces of work I've gotten, and I'm excited that he's created something there. And then new voice, recent new voice, also that is exciting for me is National who is now making part of the sixth the best contemporary jazz album nomination, as well as Miss Melanie Scott. She is based currently in New York, but she is South African through and through, and released this album, Sweet Nancy, and it has made it onto this list this year, which is very exciting for me. And then to close that, and a thorn among the roses, or a rose among the thorns, I don't know, is Nicholas Ford there with the Terra. So let's give them a round of applause. Yeah, virtual applause. Thank you. Congratulations to everyone. And the nominees for the best traditional jazz album, again, one of the difficult criteria. I see Peter is in the room. He will know that some of the conversations that me and him have just on the side about this criteria is always fascinating, because it's traditional according to whom? Whose tradition? When we start having this kind of conversation about the best traditional jazz album. But nevertheless, continuously the committee and all of us finally get to some kind of an agreement as to what makes the best traditional jazz album. And it's great to see Miss Pindamatlala there on that list. Congratulations. And then I had a beautiful conversation with Adam Glasser a couple of months ago, and I am excited that he has made it on that list with his latest offering, SA and Beyond. And then, of course, Mr. Max Baloy and Healing Pumps, as well as Sydney Mavundla has performed on the Mzantsi Jazz Awards stage. And there is a DVD that is available with Roland Moses that you could get. I'm sure there are details somewhere on this presentation. And I'm excited that the Dirge for Our Fathers is on there. You need to listen to that album. It is so, so good. All of the stuff that's here is very good. So when I pick something that's so good, it's because I love it, not because it's like the best of everything, right? But that is the list there for the best traditional jazz album. Give them a round of applause. Congratulations, everybody. These categories, by the way, are the jury categories. So essentially, the jury categories are the categories that are decided by the committee themselves, and the way they do it. So when you see the people here on the list is because the committee people who really love jazz, who are much better at this jazz thing than I am. They will go and sit with it for a month after it has come through and really listen to it. So they don't listen to 2 seconds or half a minute or whatever of that. They live with the music for a bit. So when you actually really see it on this list, it means they're like really convinced. And it's not just one person or two people. It's a few people that essentially then agree that this is worthy to be on this list. So when I keep saying congratulations to everybody, is that when those 100 of nominations come up, I never know what's going to end up on this. So this is a real celebration. Another celebration for me every year is this category. And if you've been part of the Mzantsi Jazz Awards activities, you will know. I'm always excited about this criteria, this category, because jazz and the work of female jazz musicians, it has a bit of a not so nice history, a checkered history sometimes, where many jazz female musicians are relegated to chantuses. But I'm always excited when yes, a jazz musician can sing. But I love even more when a jazz musician, a female jazz musician particularly, plays an instrument as well, because that's part of the discrimination for me that I had seen as I was growing up. Again, it's my politics, probably not the truth, right? But the thing that continuously excites me is opportunities that keep coming up for jazz musicians, particularly female jazz musicians. So with this category, with this criteria, there is a number of fantastic women that I am excited to see on that list. Melanie Scott and Tembele Tunjana have made it onto that list. And then, of course, I'm excited to have Gabi Mutuba back on the list. She won the Mzantsi Jazz Awards in 2019, I think, for the best contemporary jazz album, for the Tefiti album. So I am glad to see her back onto this list. Congratulations, Karisile. And then Lauren Manning is on that list with her latest, as a result of her latest album, Four Walls. And then English Nontoshi as well has also made it into that list, as well as Rory Sang Sichele. So we have a great set of women, ladies that will be blowing your mind when you come to the Mzantsi Jazz Awards on the 30th. Why I keep getting the date wrong? On the 30th of August, 2025. That will be at UJ. So don't go to the Soweto Theatre thinking it's happening at the Soweto Theatre. We are done with the Soweto Theatre for now. In fact, a little later in the year, we will announce some very exciting developments around the Mzantsi Jazz Awards and the new home for the Mzantsi Jazz Awards. Congratulations to the ladies, and congratulations to the music. Best male jazz artist category is always quite vibrant, and I'm excited to present the Adam Glaser on that list, as well as Bonginkosi Yeko. Beautiful music from him, Mr. Nicholas Ford. Funny Dick has recently won also the Summer Award for traditional, I think, traditional music category there. I could be wrong. And then, of course, I'm excited that Sydney Mavundla is also on this list. So congratulations to everybody there. The best newcomer in jazz is yet another exciting category for me. What makes it exciting, as I said a little earlier, one of the things I enjoy about doing the Mzantsi Jazz Awards is the discovery of new music and new artists and contemporary, because it then tells us how alive jazz is. I was excited last year. We had people like Kujenga, who we continue to interact with. We had people like Bumelikaya, Plucky with the Sun Quintet and all of that. And I think a couple of years ago, we had Bukhetin Kotsi. And that is exciting to me. In fact, if it was up to me, I would have a whole jazz festival just featuring some of the young jazz musicians that actually have made it here. And maybe it's an idea that I actually have to play. But the best newcomer in jazz is exciting again this year because there are some names that already some of them you know. The definition of a newcomer is not the fact that you have not been in the industry, by the way. The definition of a newcomer for the Mzantsi Jazz Awards is that the musician has released an album in the year of consideration for the first time. So we are more celebrating the debut of the album more than just the debut of the person. So if you take somebody last year, well, a couple of years ago, we had Bra Prince Lewasa, who has been forever in the industry working with everybody. And people are surprised, how can we say Bra Prince Lewasa is a newcomer? He was a newcomer because he had only now just dropped a body of work that we can actually assess and evaluate him on. But in general, his career spoke volumes. And then congratulations to everybody on that list in this instance. And then many of the people who understand our history understand that jazz music in South Africa, even particularly during apartheid, was played a lot more out of the country than in the country because it was not allowed to be played in South Africa. And so our collaboration in solidarity with the rest of our international music partners continue, and that's why this category is here. It honors and celebrates the continuing relationship between South African musicians and the rest of the world. And I have to say this, if just in case you don't know, so I travel across the world. I think continuously every year. I probably go to about 15 cities across the world, give or take. And I can tell you, South African music is loved, 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 loved. This music that we are celebrating now is so much appreciated. The creativity, the tone, the sound, and just the ideas that it represents makes it so different and so appreciated. So, and I think many of the musicians that are on this list are not pitied by the musicians that they play with. Those musicians are actually proud to be playing with Pilani Bubu for Naindaba, playing with Bonginkosi Yeko, and then of course Melanie Scholes there with a set of musicians in that she has worked with in New York for the release of this album, Sweet Nancy. Congratulations to that. So these categories that we're working with now and that we are moving into are public categories. So we've been working with jury categories. The jury categories are decided by the committee of people who love jazz at the Mzantsi Jazz Awards, and then they are awarded. However, the public category, the intention of the public category is twofold. One, the intention is to create and engage audiences to this music form. As I said earlier, this popularity of this music is really essential. So already, if you're a radio person on the show, please take this music, take these songs that are coming on this list, pick one, pick three, play them over and over. Don't play them once and then say, well, I've played it. Play it over and over again, because that's essentially how we get the audiences to vote for the music. So the people won't vote for the music if they don't know where to find it. So that's the first thing. But for the musicians and their managers, and the spaces that perform the music, like jazz clubs and listening groups, we encourage you to actually test some of these nominees with your audiences. For the musicians, I'm encouraging you. This is an opportunity to make sure that you don't just promote the music, but you get people to also vote, because the only way now to win this category, we've done our work, we've put you on this list. So the work now is for your audience to actually vote for the best jazz song. And what we do with the best jazz song, literally everybody who has so this is one of those categories where we don't decide anything. We just put everybody on the list. So if you see someone on this list, is because they were nominated for this list, and it has nothing to do with the Mzantsi Jazz Awards in this instance. So the one that with Nicholas Ford, and I see he just came into the room now. Indlela Ikona with Tembelihle Dunjana, award-winning Tembelihle Dunjana, I should say. And then Marcus Pitti, I see he's in the room. Hello, Marcus. And Cosbar Seal and Funny Dick, success is not final. Funny is very consistent. Every year there's something here on the Mzansi Jazz Awards. And then Poko with Nglash Nompushi, and African Orchid with Rory Sekele. I mean, Adobe is also consistent on our list. Almost every other year in this instance, and he is now back on that list with the resurrection. And then Bram Tobisim Talani, oh my goodness, if guys, if you don't come to the Mzansi Jazz Awards, you're missing out. There was like this once in a lifetime performance that I probably will never see again, with Tobisim Talani performing. They came all the way from KZN. They came specifically for the awards, and they came specifically for that performance, and then they left, right? And it's the music is still ringing in my ears. I can still see the blues and the colors and all of that. And then he's on that list again. Do I sound like I love the stuff? He is back on that list with the Isililo Sesizwe. And this is the list. Lauren Manning, I see she's also in the room with the 17 that's coming from her album Forward. Bonginkosi Yeko and Chasing the Midnight Glow with Bill Gibson. And then the KG Mwepie, Mandinga Suki is what we have. This it's the song she has released. Now I have to say something about the voting for this, because this is a public category before I wrap up, and this applies now to everything on this category. So many people contact us after this, particularly after this. I think just after we finish around midday. So don't start voting around midday today. We will activate the voting. Now, how to vote is essentially you take your phone. You can try it now, and then you go to that place where you send SMSs. Yes, we still use SMSs. We have thought about the different ways in which we could do this, but we wanted to make it as easy as possible for people to vote. The many different ways that we use, we find that they get very complicated, and people have very short attention spans. Even with this, sometimes people kind of get it wrong. So take your phone, go to where you send an SMS, right? Text message for some people. And then you type ZA Jazz. And then you type space. And then after that, you type the number that you see under the musician in the nomination list. So if, for example, you're wanting to vote for 17 with Lauren Manning, you will type ZA Jazz space BS9. if you want to vote for nominee code, if you want to vote for KG, you type ZA Jazz space BS11. That's it. That's it. You don't put any other words. You don't explain anything. You don't pull them all together. It's really important to just use that format exactly the way it is. And then after you do, you send that message to 40439, 40439, and the vote will be registered. You will receive a message that will say your vote has been received. Come join us at the Mzantsi Jazz Awards on the 30th of August 2025 to celebrate with the musician that you have voted for. You can vote as many times as you like. But be aware that every vote is R2 per vote. Yeah, I hope it is. We do get a lot of these questions. Now, some of the musicians some of the musicians might have international audiences that they want to reach out to. So this number does not work with international for international voters. So get in touch with us. If you are one of those, get in touch with us. We have a number we can use. We'll make a plan for you internationally. We don't want to publicize it, because if we do, it then starts confusing things. People are quite fickle in that. We try to work this differently. There's still in this whole world still not, well, it's not true, but it's like bloody expensive to actually get a one line that is international and local at the same time. It takes about 8 months to actually bring into life. And then congratulations also to Salfina Kariaka with Champagne, who's make it onto that list. And then, of course, Auspinda Matlala, Ueyo at BS12 and BS13. That will be your vote when you're voting for those. And congratulations for everybody in the best jazz song category. The nominees for best jazz album are Ford and Terrasoul. And again, it's a public category, BJ1. Tembele Dunjana, God Bless Ikapa, God Bless Mzantsi. Nominee code, BJ2. Gabi Mutuba, The Sabbath. Nominee code, BJ3. And Rorisan Sichele, The Seed. Nominee code, BJ4, if you want to vote for her. Adam Dlasa, for SA and Beyond, nominee code, BJ5. Bonginkosi Yeko, Melody Argument, and nominee code BJ6. And Salfina Kadiaka, yet again, nominee code BJ7. And then Sydney Mavundla, Pledge for Our Fathers, nominee code BJ8. And these are the nominees for the best jazz album. This is up into your hand, and you as a musician to promote, and the music manager and the radio station to promote, so that people can actually vote for it. So anyone who wins this category, it means it's a public that actually appreciates you as much, a whole lot more than the Mzantsi Jazz Awards people in this instance. Then, of course, I spoke about the people that essentially drive and publicize jazz. This year, I am excited to say we have a beautiful combination and a list of nominees for the Mzantsi Jazz Awards for Best Radio Station Promoting Jazz. I am so excited that you have heard and joined the call, because it means anybody who is on this list, and particularly when you win, the win is a public vote more than it is the Mzantsi Jazz Awards vote. But the fact that you're here is because we believe you're already doing some work towards promoting this type of music, South African jazz particularly. And the nominees, that's supposed to go in that direction. And the nominees for that category is Lesedi FM, nominee code BR1, Tabela FM, nominee code BR2, Umhlobo Wenene, hey Dubza, I see you are in the room, nominee code BR3, Nominee code BR4 is Fine Music Radio 101.3 FM. And then Alex FM and with the Bongani Jingela there, nominee code BR5, as well as Palapala, who are making it for the second time on the list with the BR6. Alex FM is continuously on this list every year. If you listen to Bongani's show, you will absolutely be hearing a lot of this music continuously on it. And I'm glad to notice that with Tobela FM, with Lisedi FM, and Fine Music Radio, the volume of particularly South African jazz music that we are celebrating here shows up quite a lot. And then, of course, Umhlobo Wenene is no question with Dumza Masana, who is also a previous winner of the Mzantsi Jazz Awards from 2017. Congratulations to everybody. May you now promote and get the people to vote for you and your station, because that's the only way that they win. Kofifi FM are not on the list, and they win every year. so, so you have a very good chance this year. And then I think now the nominees for the best African jazz album or artist are Peter Fisher.
Douglas.
Not really.
Hello.
So Peter, as I mentioned a little earlier, Peter and I, we spoke, and then we kind of put this category in. But then what happened is that the nominees that actually showed up on the list were not exactly the right type of quality and the right type of music we want, because we actually were looking for a certain type of music. And I'm going to play this clip where Peter explains. And then after we finish with Peter's conversation here, it's about 2 to 3 minutes, I'll ask Peter to add if there's anything else he wants to add beyond this. Listen to this.
To the rest of the jazz community on the African continent, and particularly to the MJAs, who have been doing an outstanding job for the last, 8-10 years, maybe even longer. Congratulations on the upcoming ninth event. I, for one, am deeply honored to be joining your journey in this pursuit of promoting jazz from the African continent. You asked me a question: why is it important to have a Best African Jazz Album or Artist category? My answer to that is this: prior to now, the yardstick has been competing with other international artists for the US and such and such. The African jazz category, African jazz is not that well known, but the practitioners are brilliant and excellent. And sometimes choice is based on who you know, and some people might not give due attention to the music from artists that they don't know. So this is to give a level playing field just for the African jazz artists outside of South Africa, and have them have a chance to begin to have the recognition of being a jazz artist from the African continent. Who can I consider would have been part of the category for this year that released content between April 2024 and March 2025? I believe Morera Chongiso is one. Alan Ward, but he's based between Senegal and Paris, with his album Sultan is another. Afro4, who have an EP from Nigeria, that's 3. Hervé Sam, with this album, I think, which is called Jollof. I think Senegal is 4.
Douglas, can you mute?
Jazz artist instead
Douglas,
of
can you mute
album,
people,
if you
please?
want to, I would consider I am Kunle Ayo. He's Nigerian. He was based in South Africa, but he's back in Nigeria. From Ghana, there's a band called GX Jazz Collective. They don't have an album yet, band. There's West Coast Ebuswa, who are from Ghana as well. They have an EP out, but I'm not sure it was in that time frame. It may have been before. Who else can I think of from? If we go to North Africa, there is a band from Tunisia called Osos, which is led by a gentleman called Yassine Boulares. That's from Tunisia. If we go singers, we can Kenya. We can consider Shamsi Music from Kenya as well. Nairobi Horns from Kenya. That's from the artist category, not album. Who else can I think of on the continent? From Egypt, there's a singer called Noha Fekri. We could consider her as well. There's quite a few.
Yeah. And I think that's precisely the reason then that we felt because we didn't see any of those names on the list, and we felt we needed to go back to the drawing board as far as this category is concerned. Many of you who are following this know that for the Mzantsi Jazz Awards, so far. Douglas, can you mute people, please? All right. Thank you. So,
who can I consider would have been part of the category?
Wait, Peter. So I think when we didn't actually see those names, we kind of thought we would actually get into a space where, which is partly what this conversation is about, having to send a message out and promote this category, so that next year we will be celebrating a decade of Mzantsi Jazz. But it would be great to actually celebrate. As I was saying before the interruption, many of you know Morales Chongesa won, but it was more on the international category. We had Aaron Rimbui who won on this category, but that was also on the best international collaboration category in this instance. But there's plenty of beautiful jazz musicians that are emerging out of the rest of the African continent, which demands to be celebrated in this instance.
For the African jazz artists on the continent, I will say for many, we have such talented musicians on the continent. Many are not aware how good they are because they have either not traveled or they are or they haven't really gauged their abilities against those of the more established artists. But we have some brilliant musicians on the African continent, really brilliant. And I think what needs to happen is that we need to break out of the mindset of survival, which is just performing to get paid, and start recording and creating legacy. A few have done that already. I mean, if you look outside of South Africa, South Africa already has that mapped down. But outside of South Africa, you have the likes of my good friend Morera, who has, I think, to date now, almost 9 or 10 albums over the last 10, 15 years. He already has a legacy, both studio and live. But there are not many. Shamsi Music in Kenya, they have a couple of albums out. Afro Red from Zambia, they have two albums out. Um, and I think also that we need to find a way so that some of these musicians can start traveling and performing across the continent. We've created an African jazz series in Lagos for that purpose, so that artists from Africa can come and perform on the same stage as jazz artists from Nigeria as well. So you have to know there are those who are on the continent that support what you're doing. MJAs, Dr. Mongezi, Douglas Maximus, and a whole host of other people are there to promote you and support you. So don't give up, keep up the fight, and just keep striving forward and producing the most original jazz sounds in the world. And that comes from the African continent.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Peter, I'm gonna give you a chance maybe to if you have anything more to add. But before you do, I want to say, particularly around this creating platforms across the world. One of the things that Peter and I it's not just him and I, but there are others, where he is continuing to travel across the world, creating a lot more platforms for our music to be played, and our musicians to be played and recorded in different parts of the continent. We, as the Mzantsi Jazz Awards, do record some of the music. So people who don't have recordings and all of that, we actually continuously look and say, how do we enable some of those processes? And if you are if you are the winner of the Mzantsi Jazz Awards, what we continuously do is go around and look at what are some of the other opportunities we can create for you being part of our winners circle to to essentially benefit not only from winning the award, but because while the award itself makes a statement around the excellence of your music, continuous ability to play and be exposed and be venerated and be celebrated is always necessary. Anything you want to add, Peter, to what you have been sharing on the clip?
Hey, hello, Mongezi. Again, I have to say congratulations to you and Douglas and the whole team for the ninth. I mean, it's not easy to do what you're doing for 9 years. I mean, I've just jumped on that bandwagon this year with an event in Lagos, so I know how hard it is, and to 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 have that commitment year in, year out. We have to applaud that. We have to applaud you. I must apologize and thank you at the same time. I apologize for riding you for the last 3, 4 years for the African category. It's just that, the Mzansi Awards is the most significant jazz award on the continent. And it just seemed to me that for eh, for it just to be limited to South Africa and international. Um, the African jazz musician needs to be encouraged because they really don't have beyond. I mean, when you find them in country in Zambia or wherever it is, very few like Morera have traveled abroad and interacted and everything. Look at it. Morera now has become, I think it's twice now he's on the International Jazz Day concert. I think it's twice now he's been on that. And the various awards he's got. But there are so many more, as you know, on the continents that are really, really brilliant. They just need to be encouraged. There's a gentleman who is one of the nominees. I mean, Douibi from I think Tunisia. What you nominated him for
Yeah,
best
yeah,
jazz song for the Resurrection. Thank you very much.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
from Tunisia. He's a brilliant guitarist. Um, I was hoping that a few more would come on, but we have a year now for them
Yeah,
to know
yeah.
there is something for them next year that will give them, if not global, but continental recognition as jazz musicians. And that's I think the bit that I will just add to that. That we from now we
Excellent.
spread the word that for the African jazz musician, there is something for you next year.
Excellent. Thank you, Peter. And thank you for continuously being a partner in this. I think the support from you from Lagos Radio, and from again everybody else that's in this room. Thank you for joining. Congratulations to all the nominees. We are technically at the end of our presentation. Um, Please come and join the Mzantsi Jazz Awards. Let's celebrate on the 30th of August at UJ Arts Center in Johannesburg. So that's on the Kingsway campus, beautiful theater there. Early bird tickets, I don't know if they are still on, but just go and check it out at Web Tickets for 250 Rand. So you can bring a few people. If you're a student, there is a ticket as well at the discounted rate, but admission ticket is 350. As a musician, already as a nominee, oh, I mentioned that there's music that we record. This is some of the music we've recorded as a result. You can actually get some of this music at takealot.com, or otherwise reach out to us at the Mzantsi Jazz Awards. I think that those two albums, they're the top with Roland Moses and Ketin Kotsi. We just about to publish them because it took a little bit of a longer time to publish that. If you're a musician, you want to bring a few more people, you already have a ticket, a plus one, so bring your plus one. Let's fill the theater there. But if you want a lot more group tickets, get in touch with us on 012-751-7608 and bring people, nominees, not just musicians. Bring your plus one, bring other people. We can work out a discount if you want us to. You want to bring a lot more people, we can work out a discount. And don't forget to bring money to buy the tickets, to buy the CDs at the event. Bring, if you're as a musician nominated on this list, bring the CDs, bring us at least 10 copies. We will put them on the stand. We create a stand there so that people can essentially be able to enjoy your music after you win. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being part of this conversation. And this presentation has now come to an end. Thank you for our partners, the UJ, University of Johannesburg, for agreeing for us to host this with them and partnering in this instance, offering that venue to us. Thank you, Vuga Online Radio. Everyone who is on the nominee list will be getting an interview on Vuga Online Radio that speaks to about 200,000 odd people across the world. And then thank you to the Africa Center for Work-Based Learning Faculty of Performing Arts, who continuously have been funding this project right from the very beginning. I am a poor guy. I cannot afford it, but sorry about that. And anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we are done. Technology there. See you at the awards. Oh, yeah. If you have questions, by the way, just feel free to get in touch with Douglas. And if you need to clarify some stuff, I think our numbers are available online, www.zajazawards.co.za, 012-751-7608 if you are local. See you guys. And we're done. Douglas, you can close the meeting.
Recording in progress.